Namaste everyone, this is Pooja. For today's video, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about PCE's written component. Okay, we'll be talking about what a Wignet style question looks like. Okay, but before that, let me just give you a brief of what the PCE written exam is all about. So for those of you who don't know, PCE is the physical therapy competency exam. It is the exam that you need to clear to become a registered physiotherapist in Canada. Now PCE has two components. It has written component, it has the practical component. Okay, today we are going to talk about the written component. Now written component traditionally or initially used to be like that you have to be in Canada. Okay, you have to be physically present in Canada and only then you can give the PCE written exam. But due to COVID-19, they are giving you the option of giving the exams from your home country. From your home actually. So you can give the exams from your home, meaning you can give the exams from wherever you are in the world. Okay, it is an open option for most of us. Okay, so that's why if there is anyone out there who is already done with their evaluation, and if you are thinking of whether you should go ahead with the exams or not, and if you are prepared, give the exams right now from your home, because due to COVID most of us are home. We do have the time to prepare and give the exams. Okay, so let's talk more about the exam itself. Now this is a 4-hour exam. There are 200 questions. Okay, there are 200 questions, and out of these 200 questions, 90% of the questions are Wignet style. That's what we are going to talk about, and the other 10% of the questions are regular multiple choice questions. Okay, now these questions you have 4 hours to give the answers. So if you calculate, you have 72 seconds for each question. Okay, so I usually try to get it done in 30 to 45 seconds. My style is I look at the question, whatever I think is right, I pick that answer, then I bookmark it if I have a doubt. Let's say there are certain topics which you are not sure, or there are certain questions you are not sure if this is the correct answer. I used to bookmark it, and then once I'm done with all the questions, I'll go back and refer to those questions. Now this is a good thing with PCE, that you can go back and check those questions, your bookmark questions. With NPTE, once you are done with one section, that is once you are done with the first 50 questions, you can't really go back. That was the case with NPTE. That's not the thing with PCE, so that's a good thing. And you can take as many breaks as you want during this exam, but the break should not be longer than 10 minutes. Okay, and that time would be deducted from your 4 hours. So let's say you took let's say you want to take 3 breaks. You take 3 breaks of 10 minutes. That is 30 minutes that are going to be deducted from your 4 hours. So you just have 3 hours 30 minutes to give your exam. Okay, personally I don't like leaving the desk, but it is advised. Most of our tutors used to advise that after you finish 100 questions, and if you feel like you have enough time, go have something, drink water or have chocolate or something to just boost up your energy level, so that you can sit down again and give the rest of the exam. So yeah, most of us, what they do, most of us who give the exams usually take one break. Okay, one 10-minute break was more than enough. So that's all about it. That's all about PCE. Also, I would want you to check out the blueprint and the sample questions that they have given. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a sample Wignet question to show you how a Wignet style question would look like. In a Wignet style, you'll still have, what you'll have is, you'll have a scenario, okay, which would say this is the scene, and then based on that scenario or based on that condition, they'll ask you 3 questions, 5 questions and things like that. Okay, so just wait up, let me open up and show you the CAPR's sample question. Okay, guys, so this is the sample question, and it's a Wignet style. This is a sample question from CAPR's website, so you can also find it. I'll put a link in the description below. Okay, so let's read the question. Here the question is about It is about, just a second. Okay, so it is about a 3-month-old baby boy with a diagnosis of congenital muscular torticollis requiring physical therapy in an outpatient department. Okay. So on palpation, the physical therapist finds tightness of the left sternocleidomastoid. That's what you're finding tightness in. Which position would the baby most probably maintain his head? So these are the two things that you need to be focusing on when you are answering, right? So tightness of the left SCM muscle. So what would be the position? Now you have two options here. Or what you can do is that you can go through the answers and decide whether this is right or wrong, or else assume what would be the right position. So I would choose, what I would do is I would assume what would be the right answer. So for me, if it is left SCM, it should be left side flexion and rotation to the right. Okay, so now when I look at the options, when I'm looking at the options, the first option A is right lateral flexion, then it's the wrong answer. Option B is right lateral flexion, again doesn't work. Lateral flexion meaning side flexion doesn't work for us. We need left lateral flexion. Okay, so left lateral flexion and rotation to the left, that is answer C. Doesn't work for us. We need same side flexion and opposite side rotation. So left lateral flexion and rotation to the right. Okay, so that's your answer so this is Wignet-Style. Usually in Wignet-Style you will have a common scenario. Here it is going to be muscular torticollis, and based on that they'll ask questions. But again, be aware, because sometimes what they are going to do is they are going to ask you something that is not totally related to your scenario here. Okay, so the next question here is, the PT teaches a home program to the baby's parents. Which of the following instructions should be emphasized? Okay, so they are asking us what should be the instructions given to the parents. Okay, baby's parents, what should be the instructions? Now in these kind of questions, what happens is that you will find 2 or more questions which are more suitable, which are appropriate. And now that's when you have to sort of rule out one of these questions and choose your right answer. Okay, so let's get started. Here the first option is incorporating the exercises into the child's daily routine. Now this is something you want to do, so keep this in mind. Pursuing the exercises intensively at frequent intervals during the day. Now for torticollis, we do want the parents to do frequent intervals. We do want them to do it more regularly, at every diaper change, or at least after every 2 hours. Okay, but we don't want it to be intense. The word intensively doesn't work well for us, because if it's a 3-month-old baby and you go intense, you might injure the neck. So we do not want intensive therapy. So that is something that we are going to rule out. So this is definitely out of the question for us. Okay, the next question, carrying out the next option, carrying out the exercises only when the child is awake and can participate. Here there are 2 important words, only and can participate. Okay, so it is not necessary that you should carry out the exercises only when the child is awake and can participate. It is good if you do it when the child is awake, but it is not necessary that the child has to participate. The child might not like the stretching at time, but you still have to get the stretching done. So this again would not be the option that we would choose. Now, doing the exercises only when the child is asleep. Here again the word only, no, you don't have to do it only when the child is sleeping. You can also do it when the child is awake. So for us, the right answer would be A, incorporate the exercises into the child's routine. Okay, third question. Here, the baby's torticollis improves with physiotherapy treatment. However, follow-up assessment at 8 months of age reveals a motor delay. There's a motor delay. Which of the following assessment tools should the physiotherapist use to determine the child's performance in relation to his fears? Okay, so now you need to know the child's motor performance. So what kind of scale you are going to use? That's what pretty much that they are asking you, right? So for me, I kind of like this question because it's really simple. The options are pretty straightforward. So the first one is Alberta Infant Motor Scale. We do want to keep this in mind. The second one is Gross Motor Functional Measure Scale. It is not for the child this age. Ashworth scale, again, you do not need Ashworth or even modified Ashworth for this child you are using. You don't really need it for gross motor delays. And then there is functional independent measure. Again, you are not measuring the child's functional independence, you are measuring the child's motor performance. Okay, so we don't even need this. So the answer is pretty straightforward. It is Alberta Infant Motor Scale. So this is how you would be sorting out your Vignette style questions, and you will be having 90% of your exams filled with these kind of Vignette styles. Okay, so yep, that's about it. Okay guys, so now that we have seen the Vignette style question, now you know what to expect when you have Vignette style questions. Okay, you have to focus on the condition, but you also have to focus on what is the given scenario in that specific question as well, because sometimes all you remember is the condition, the main condition, and you forget that the scenario might be different too. Like the scenario would be asking you something related, in our case it was torticollis. So if the scenario is torticollis, but within there they might not ask you exactly about torticollis, they might ask you something about gross motor delay. What would you see, what kind of delay you would see if the child is not able to crawl or creep and stuff like that. So then you'll have to remember that even though it's related to torticollis, you have to think about what a 7-month-old or a 6-month-old should be able to do. Okay, so those are the Vignette style questions. Now if you want to pass the exam, we don't really know what is the total score. They have not said that okay, this exam is out of 700 marks or 600 marks, but we are assuming that the total score would be 600 based on the results that we get and everything. That's the assumption. We are not sure as of yet. Okay, so yeah, so to pass the exam, you need to score above the average. So let's say 500 students have sat for the exam, right, and their average is 350. So for me and you to clear the exams, we need at least 350 and above. So if you have 349, you fail the exam, but if you have 351, you pass the exams. Okay, so it's an average. They take the scores of every PT who is sitting for the exam, they do an average, and then based on that you get the scores. Okay, so that's how you clear the exam. There is no negative marking. So even if you're not sure about a question, if you feel like you're confused between the answers, choose the answer that you feel is the most appropriate one, because there's no negative markings. Okay, so those are the things that I wanted to talk about for PCE's written exam. Again, please check out CAPR's website. They have tons and tons of information on what to expect. They have made videos and they have also given out these sample questions, the blueprint. They also have frequently asked questions, the FAQs. Please go through them, and all the best. I'll see you guys next video. Take care. Bye bye.